The Mummy from 1999 gave us ancient curses, flesh-eating scarabs, and Brendan Fraser running through Egyptian tombs. And here's the thing most people missed while watching all that chaos. The guns in this movie are seriously impressive. We are talking about 14 different firearms that show up across battles, ambushes, and some of the wildest action scenes from that decade. French military revolvers from the 1870s, American shotguns that got banned in World War I, and British machine guns that changed how wars were fought. So today, we are breaking down every single one of them. The film takes place in 1926 Egypt, and director Stephen Sommers actually put real effort into making the weapons match that time period. The production team sourced guns from armories and custom fabricators to get things right. They wanted the audience to feel like they were watching a real 1920s adventure. They used blank firing versions for the shooting scenes and rubber stunt props for the close combat stuff. And that desert sand in Morocco where they filmed caused real problems for the crew. The sand kept jamming the actual firearms, so they had to switch to props more than they originally planned. Let us start with our main guy, Rick O'Connell. His iconic gear bag holds some serious firepower, and the props department packed it with historically accurate weapons. First up, he carries two Chamelot Delvine Model 1873 revolvers. These French military revolvers were the first double-action revolvers the French Army ever used. They made over 337,000 of these things from 1873 to 1886, and they saw action all the way through World War I in the trenches. The gun fires an 11mm round, holds 6 shots, and weighs about 2.5 pounds. You see Rick preparing these on the boat and dual-wielding them against Imhotep's priests later in the film. The double-action trigger lets shooters fire quickly without cocking the hammer each time, which is exactly why Rick can blast away so fast in the film. Jonathan Carnahan borrows these during the Haman Aptra fight too. Here's something wild. These revolvers stayed in service with French police until the 1960s, nearly a century after their introduction. Also in Rick's bag sits a Colt M1911 pistol. This legendary American sidearm was designed by John Moses Browning and became the standard U.S. military pistol in 1911. The ones in the film are authentic pre-1924 models, which is actually a rare bit of Hollywood accuracy. See, after 1924, Colt changed the design with an arched mainspring housing and finger relief cuts. The movie versions lack those features, meaning someone on the production team knew their stuff. The M1911 chambers, the powerful 45A CP round, holds 7 rounds plus 1 in the chamber and has a 5-inch barrel. Over 2.7 million of these were made during military service. Rick and Jonathan used them against the Tuaregs during the boat attack. Mr. Burns also carries one. Fun fact, the state of Utah made this gun their official state firearm in 2011 to honor Browning. The last piece from Rick's bag is a Winchester Model 1897 shotgun in the Riot configuration. John Browning designed this pump-action beast back in 1897, and they produced over 1 million units until 1957. The military version had a heat shield and bayonet lug, earning it the nickname trench gun in World War I. Germany actually protested its use as inhumane and threatened to execute any American soldier caught with one. The U.S. basically ignored that as propaganda and kept issuing them. The Riot version Rick carries has a 20-inch barrel, holds 6 shells of 12-gauge ammunition, and can be taken apart for storage in tight spaces. You see him assembling it from his bag in one of the most memorable gear-up scenes in action movie history. Evelyn and Ardeth Bey both get their hands on it during the priest battles. The external hammer design means you can tell when it is cocked just by looking, which adds nice visual drama. Now let us talk about the American treasure hunters. These guys bring some real cowboy energy to Egypt. Mr. Henderson Duel wields a pair of Colt single-action army revolvers, one with blued finish and one nickel-plated. This is the famous peacemaker that basically defined the American West. Colt introduced it in 1873, the same year as those French revolvers Rick carries. The single-action Army fires 45 long Colt rounds, holds 6 shots, and requires you to manually cock the hammer before each shot. Henderson fans the hammer during the boat attack, which is that rapid fire technique where you hold the trigger and slap the hammer with your other hand. Outlaws and lawmen alike made this gun famous. Over 357,000 were made by 1941, and Colt still produces them today because the demand never stopped. Mr. Daniels goes with 2 Colt new service revolvers. Introduced in 1898, this large-frame revolver was built to handle serious cartridges like the .45 Colt. The U.S. Army adopted it as the Model 1909, and during World War I, versions chambered in .455 Webley went to British forces. The new service has a swing-out cylinder for faster reloading compared to the loading gates on older revolvers. Colt made these in over 30 different calibers, making it one of their most versatile designs ever. The gun weighs about 2.5 pounds and has a 5.5-inch barrel. Its influence shows up in later Colt designs, including the famous Python. Benny Gabor carries one too, and so does Warden Gad Hassan. Mr. Burns reloads a Webley Mark V revolver during the camp raid. The British adopted this top-break revolver in 1913 for World War I service. It chambers the big .455 Webley round and features a bird's head grip shape. The top break design lets you crack the gun open at the top for lightning-fast reloads, and all the spent cases eject automatically. This was the last Webley with that distinctive grip style before they changed it for the Mark VI. Lieutenant Donald Simpson Bell won the Victoria Cross carrying this exact model. It holds 6 rounds, has a 4-inch barrel, and weighs about 2.5 pounds. Jonathan Carnahan gets the smallest gun in the film, a Remington Double Derringer, also called the Model 95. This tiny over-under pistol was made from 1866 to 1935, with over 150,000 produced. It chambers 41 rimfire ammunition in 2 barrels stacked on top of each other. The whole thing measures less than 5 inches long and weighs under a pound. Gamblers and ladies loved these for concealment. The tip-up barrels make reloading quick and simple. Jonathan keeps it as a backup, and despite its size, it packed enough punch for deadly close-range encounters. Some rare variants came with 4-inch barrels, but most had the 3-inch setup like Jonathan's. The Medjay warriors bring some exotic hardware to this adventure. They dual-wield Mauser C96 pistols during the boat attack scene. This German semi-automatic pistol, nicknamed the broom handle because of its distinctive grip shape, came out in 1896 and became one of the first successful semi-auto pistols ever made. The internal magazine holds 10 rounds of 7.63mm Mauser ammunition loaded through stripper clips from the top. The wooden holster doubles as a shoulder stock that extends the effective range all the way out to 200 yards. Winston Churchill famously carried one during the Boer War and credited it with saving his life during a cavalry charge. Here is a cool detail. The Federal brothers designed this gun in secret against company policy, and Mauser only found out after they finished the prototype. The design directly inspired the blasters in Star Wars, which is why Han Solo's gun looks so familiar. Mauser produced these until 1937, but unlicensed copies from China and Spain kept coming for years after. For the biggest gun in the movie, we have the Lewis gun. Ardith Bay wields this light machine gun against the priests, and Rick mounts one on a biplane to shoot at Imhotep's sandstorm. Isaac Newton Lewis invented this air-cooled gas-operated weapon in 1911. Britain adopted it in 1915 because the American military rejected it. Why did America pass on such a good gun? Lewis had a personal grudge against the Chief of Army Ordnance, and the political beef kept American soldiers stuck with inferior show-shot machine guns. The Lewis uses a distinctive pan magazine on top, holding 47 to 97 rounds of 303 British ammunition. It fires 500 to 600 rounds per minute and weighs 28 pounds. The barrel shroud helps with cooling during sustained fire. Its effective range reaches 800 yards. The opening battle at Hamunaptra shows French Foreign Legion soldiers using Liebel Model 1886 rifles. This rifle changed warfare forever. Introduced in 1887, It was the first military rifle to use smokeless powder ammunition. That might sound like a small detail, but smokeless powder gave France a massive advantage because their soldiers did not reveal their positions with big clouds of smoke after every shot. The Lebel holds 8 rounds in a tubular magazine under the barrel, plus 2 more in the action. Rick and Benny both used them in that opening battle. You can see them loading single rounds according to French military doctrine of the time. The main downside was that tubular magazine design, which got outdated fast once other countries developed stripper clip systems. France made 3.5 million of these through 1920. British soldiers, Medjay warriors, and Tuareg raiders all used the Lee Enfield No. 1 Mark III rifle. The British Army adopted the short magazine Lee Enfield in 1907, and it served through both World Wars with distinction. The star designation means it was a simplified wartime production model made during the massive demand of World War I. What made the Lee Enfield special was its incredibly smooth bolt action, possibly the smoothest of any military rifle ever made. Trained soldiers could fire 15 to 20 aimed shots per minute, a skill called the Mad Minute in British Army training. During the Battle of Mons, German soldiers thought they were facing machine guns when it was just well-trained riflemen with Lee Enfields. The detachable magazine holds 10 rounds of .303 British, giving it twice the capacity of most other bolt-action rifles of the era. Barrel length is 25 inches, and the whole rifle weighs about 9 pounds. Millions of these were produced, and they remain popular with collectors today. The Tuareg warriors charging on horseback in the opening carry Mauser M 1895 carbines. Chile originally ordered these rifles, and they saw extensive use during the Boer Wars in South Africa. The carbine version has an 18-inch barrel for easier handling on horseback. It chambers the 7x57mm Mauser round, which had an incredibly flat trajectory that let Boer marksmen outrange British soldiers using their .303s. That cartridge influenced the development of the .308 Winchester decades later. The internal magazine holds 5 rounds. You also see some Tuaregs carrying Snider Enfield Mark II rifles. These British converted rifles from 1866 were basically 1853 Enfield muzzleloaders upgraded to breech loading. They fire a massive 577 Snider round and were used throughout the British Empire until the 1880s. The conversion cut reloading time in half compared to the old muzzleloader. Gun appears on the movie poster but never actually shows up in the film itself, the Jazyle musket. Rick holds this long Afghan flintlock on promotional materials. Jazyles are handmade muskets from Persia and Afghanistan dating back to the 1700s. They range from 50 to 75 caliber, with barrels sometimes exceeding 60 inches. The distinctive curved stock and personalized decorations made each one unique. These guns actually embarrassed British forces during the Anglo-Afghan wars because skilled marksmen could outrange standard British Enfields thanks to superior handmade rifling. Pretty wild that a homemade musket could outshoot a factory rifle. The production team made some smart choices and a few notable goofs along the way. Those authentic pre-1924 M and 1911 pistols show real attention to detail that most movies skip. The single loading of the Lebel rifles matches French military doctrine perfectly. But some sound effects do not match the visuals, like cocking sounds playing when no hammer actually moves on screen. Actors wore earplugs during gunfight scenes for safety, and you can spot them in some shots if you look carefully. The prop rifles for Tuareg attacks were hardened rubber with metal frames inside to give them realistic weight without any danger during the intense action sequences. The guns in The Mummy do more than just make noise and look cool on camera. They tell you exactly who each character is and where they come from. Rick's diverse arsenal shows he is a practical survivor who grabs whatever works best for the job. The Americans and their cowboy revolvers bring that Wild West energy to the Egyptian desert. The Medjay with their Mausers show they are connected to modern international trade routes. Every weapon choice reinforces that pulp adventure feeling, where explorers from all over the world collide in ancient ruins. 25 years later, these guns still look cool on screen. The mix of American, French, British, and German firearms creates visual variety that most action movies never achieve. You have Rick with his French revolvers, Americans with their Wild West peacemakers, Medjay with German semi-automatics, and everyone grabbing Lee Enfields when things get serious. Whether Rick is blasting mummies with that Winchester pump or Ardith Bey is laying down covering fire with a Lewis gun, the weapons feel like they belong in that world. Modern action movies could learn something from this approach. Rather than giving everyone the same generic modern pistol, the Mummy made weapon selection part of the storytelling. That attention to period detail and character-based armament is exactly why The Mummy holds up as one of the best adventure films ever made. If you enjoyed this breakdown of The Mummy's firearms, make sure to subscribe to Real Caliber for more deep dives into the weapons of your favorite films. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, and drop a comment letting us know which movie you want us to cover next. Thanks for watching.